Good evening. My name's Jamie McMahon. I'm going to talk to you tonight about the Puritan influence on the founding of America. The Puritans had a dramatic effect on founding America. One of those ways can really be found by looking at how the Puritans conducted their church. They believed in the autonomy of churches and towns. They believed in being able to pick and choose who their members were. This is talked a lot about by Joshua Miller and his article, Direct Democracy and the Puritan Theory of Membership. He speaks a lot about how the Puritans chose their members and believed that these churches each had autonomy and had the right to conduct self-rule. This is going to lead later on, obviously, to struggle with the British in their belief of self-rule. The Puritans were also very critical of the Catholic Church, even the Church of England. They criticized central authority, believed that authority should be held at each individual church. Again, that's going to be very instrumental later on as the Revolution comes near, and they really are going to be against any type of rule from England and believe that they ought to have self-rule, so that's going to be a very big deal for them. Also, a second influence that they have, it's actually talked about by M. Peterson, why they mattered, the return of politics to Puritan New England, was really how this is going to affect the idea of republicanism, the idea of representation in government. Churches during Puritan New England especially believed that they should be ran by elders. These elders should be chosen by the church. This was very different than how the Catholic Church and even the Church of England did with bishops who were chosen a lot of times by popes or monarchs. They did not see this as being right. They believed the church, each individual church, should choose who their leaders are. So we can start to see the ideas of republicanism really being born here into the Puritan church. A third thing that really jumps out about the Puritan church and how they really influenced the birth of America and the founding of America, we find in our textbook here, A History of Christianity in the United States and Canada by Mark Knoll. He talks a lot about the idea of covenant, the idea that the Puritan preached this covenant of grace, this agreement between mankind and God, and how this is going to really lead to their idea of a covenant, of an agreement between man and government. It's going to lead again to a lot of their problems that they have with the British government and the fact that they did not believe there was a covenant with the British. And even after the Revolution, of course, after the Articles of Confederation, things like that, even that was somewhat of a covenant they saw, but this is going to really lead into the Constitution and especially the Bill of Rights in this agreement between mankind and their citizens and the government of a nation. One last thing that really had a major influence with the Puritan religion on the founding of America was just their deep-seated belief in education. This is talked about a lot by an author by the name of Douglas McKnight. He wrote a book called Schooling, the Puritan Imperative in the Molding of American National Identity. In this, he talks how the Puritans were really the very first in America to have any type of compulsory education law. And they actually did that all the way back in 1647. Unlike today, it's not really to promote American way of life, to really promote scholarship, anything like that. It was really promoted for a couple reasons right then, writing and reading the Bible. But even though it wasn't necessarily to promote Americanism or the ideas like that, it did have a tremendous effect on that. Even though this was promoted for religious reasons instead of democratic. They also, talked a lot about the city on the hill, the famous speech by John Winthrop. That's going to be used, much later on by Ronald Reagan as he gives his parting address. And this idea of a city on a hill, something for Britain, something for Europe to look at almost as an example. Also, the Puritans are going to have a tremendous effect on the fact that they're going to found Harvard College. obviously for religious reasons, but it's going to have a profound effect on this. So the Puritans have a huge effect on America and its founding through, number one, their belief in democracy and self-rule. Number two, through their belief of republicanism, the fact that they elect their own leaders to represent them. Number three, through their belief in covenant, the idea that there is an agreement between the people and the government. And then lastly, through their just belief in education. That's going to have a tremendous effect on the founding of America. Thank you.